Why WWE 2K Battlegrounds 2 needs to happen. Let's get into it. Why would anyone want a sequel to this game? Well, since they have the base already built and the game had some cool ideas, it was just horribly executed with how it locked out all the wrestlers behind either a paywall or an insane grind. Plus, the forced online was another huge issue that killed it. They locked out earning the currency, the in-game currency that unlocks stuff, to having to be connected to their servers. So if you bought the Switch version, you were SOL if you wanted to unlock stuff while out on the house doing stuff. Now, with all that going against it, why in the blue hell, as The Rock would say, should they make a sequel? Well, this is why. Let's get into it. Number one, since we still don't have a good arcade-style wrestling game to fill that void, the sequel would basically run unopposed. Since AEW Fight Forever flopped hard, there is room for another wrestling game on the market. Now, I know that Ultra Pro Wrestling, Neckbreakers, and the Wrestling Code are all on the way, but none of them are going for that over-the-top arcade-style wrestling game like All-Stars was. So there's definitely room for it. And since the All-Stars team and THQ were pretty much dissolved, I think this is as close as we're ever going to get. Number two, the fact that they have a game already made and can build off of and tweak to fix the problems of the first game would save lots of time and money. They literally can just pick up where they left off, so the risk versus reward shouldn't really be an issue because you're not starting from scratch. In fact, number three, Yuke's, since they're no longer working with AEW currently, could take the helm or at least team with Saber Interactive, since Saber has no clue how to make a wrestling game clearly after you play that. Yuke's could take what they already have and improve it tenfold. They could add a better created wrestler, better created arena, more match types, actual movesets, actual entrances, literally everything they missed with the first game. Number four, the Creation Suite. Speaking of this Creation Suite, could really go nuts with creativity because it's more about over-the-top crazy than a stupid normal simulation game that has to be in the confines of what the standards of a simulation game is. Basically, that's why we don't have any of the cool like gimmick stuff anymore, like in 2K20 where we had the nightmare stuff like the Swamp Thing, Bray Wyatt, the Frankenstein, Braun Strowman, the actual Demon Finn Balor in the cool arenas. It's because people don't like the gimmicky stuff. So there is a crowd for that. I love that stuff. I thought it was awesome, and I would buy everything that they put out. If they put that stuff in the Persona cards in my faction, well, I'd probably spend a lot of money to get all those because I love that stuff. Anyway, so if we're gonna go over the top arcade style, why not have alien, robot, monster, animal, and element style creation parts? Like, why not have like a tiger face with a flaming head or electricity coming off the head? Yeah, I'm talking complete craziness because it's all about the over-the-top wrestling stuff. Why not? Number five. Now, this is probably the most important, and I think this is ultimately why the game failed, and that's the gameplay. The gameplay needs a major overhaul. The fact that most of the wrestlers, both male and female, play the same really defeats the purpose of who to pick. Wrestlers not having their iconic moveset really hurt the first game. Also, the terrible random countering system was awful. We need a complete overhaul of the gameplay. That's where Yuke's comes in. They basically set the gold standard for wrestling games years ago, along with Aki. And I know Aki, kind of went their own way, but Yuke's pretty much is the gold standard for wrestling games. Number six, make the arenas fully destructible. Fully go for the over-the-top arcade style that fans wanted from the first game. This would make matches so much fun. For players who don't like that, they could easily have a toggle to turn off destructible environments so it's just a normal arena on or off. The more options, the better. Now, imagine giving a choke slam. You're flying up into the air, you crash into the ring, and it just absolutely completely destroys it. Now, they'd have to make it to where the ring and arena itself had like a health bar, because if it just broke with every single move, that wouldn't be very fun. It wouldn't be as like epic. Like, oh, it takes like an ultimate super hyper attack to destroy it, or you can beat it up throughout the level. Kind of like in, I don't know, like Fatal, what is that? Those side-scroller beat-em-up games where you can punch the barrel and it explodes, or Street Fighter where you beat up the car and it explodes, stuff like that. That would be so freaking fun to me. Number 7, make the sequel a one-and-done game. No yearly release. Just keep adding it to it until the next console generation comes around, and then they can make the follow-up game, like the third game, that uses the new technology that's available. But don't get super scummy with an always online requirement, monetization practices, and for the love of God, please no my faction mode to unlock stuff. Do a battle pass instead if you have to have that kind of stuff in there. Now, number 8, cross-game bonuses. If they are scared of people not buying their mainline 2K game, have some sort of incentive to buy both games. Let's say if you buy the next 2K, let's say by the time this would come out, 26, 27, you'll unlock skins or wrestlers, or hell, creation parts for Battlegrounds 2. Have exclusive stuff for buying both. You could also have your creator wrestlers transfer back and forth, like certain parts of it, certain aspects of it. I feel like if they really, they could use the parts from both games, just make them look different for the game that it's in. They have all these parts made. All they would have to do, especially if they bring in Ukes and Saber Interactive, they can go through and change what all those parts look like. They can use essentially the same creation features. It's kind of a no-brainer. You have these two games completely built. Why not just build off of them and make another game, make more money? I think that would be really, really cool. They could have exclusive stuff for both. You could I already said have create wrestlers go back and over. I feel like this would really help both games. They would cover all their bases with arcade style and the simulation, and it would create competition within the company and make both games better overall. And if one game needed extra time to be developed, well, you have the other game to pick up the slack. So my closing thoughts is, I know I am crazy for wanting a sequel to the terrible first game of Battlegrounds, but it had some really cool ideas that didn't really get to shine like they should have, in my opinion. And it's a way to let Ukes do their thing and make a great arcade wrestling game that we have been dying for since All Stars. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off the comments below, and stay frosty.